We started this garden just 60 days ago, and it's already our best performing garden ever. Here's how it looked before, and here is how it looks now. Today, we're going to show you everything we did step by step to get it to look just like it does now.
Hey everybody, my name's Colin and this is Mitchell. We've been gardening together for a combined 20 years. And today we're going to take you through every step of the process so that you can start growing your own food as well. Everything from where to put your garden to what type of garden you should build, how to care for it, how to fill it, and what plants to use as well. We're going to go by step so that you can follow along. Guys, this video is mainly for beginners, but if you're an experienced gardener, you might take something away as well. So let's get started with step one. All right, guys, we're here in the front yard garden to talk to you about location. This is almost important as anything else we're going to learn about today. So here's what you're looking for. Look for a sunny or maybe even the sunniest part of your yard, front yard or back, and give a look to this area about 3 times a day, the morning, the midday, and the afternoon. Even snapping pictures can help because you want to know how much sun this area gets. We want about 6 to 8 hours of sun and ideally a little bit of shade as the evening sun comes in, as this is the harshest type of sunlight that your plants can get. Things like lettuce and other leafy greens can be grown in partial shade, but things like this okra here, corn, and some of our favorites like tomatoes and peppers need a full sun environment to grow their best. So we're here in the front yard garden of Mitchell's house. Mitchell, what were you thinking about kind of when you installed this garden? And what factors made this a place where you want to put some raised beds?
So this side of the yard gets the evening sun, which is going to be that hot sun like Colin talked about. So when I think about when I want to plant up here, it's going to be things that like that hot sun, like this okra right here. Even corn can handle that hot sun, and it is pretty fun to have corn in your front yard. So in the front yard, I like to have more structure. So having these raised beds with people driving by, it's just going to look a little bit nicer. But you do need to be specific about what type of plant you're going to be planting in these beds.
And some things that we want to keep in mind as we wrap up here are 3 main factors. 1, good sunlight. 2, nothing in the way. So nothing like a tree in deep shade or even the roots that come out from that tree can get in your way, especially if you're doing some in-ground gardening. And the third one, which we haven't talked about yet, is keeping it close to a water source, which will probably mean having it close to your house. This front yard garden is a great example of that. And as you see this garden every day, you'll be more likely to do things like trim away dead growth, harvest the plants before they rot, or make sure you water every day, right? So we want those 3 things to be kept in mind as we think about the choice of where to build the garden.
We're here at the squash wall to talk about first the benefits of raised bed gardening. This here is in a beautiful metal raised bed, and this kabocha and spaghetti squash has been doing amazing this year. We already have multiple big ones growing in just 2 months. Now, we decided to put this into a raised bed because squash can be a little finicky when it's growing. You want to make sure you're picking all the weeds around it. You don't want it competing for water with any other plants. So we decided to put it into a raised bed. And also, raised beds are a little bit easier when you're wanting to put in a trellis. Gives you a little bit more structure that you can kind of work the trellis around.
You really have 2 choices when you're looking to begin your garden. Are you going to do raised bed or are you going to do in-ground? So right now let's talk about the raised bed. These are going to cost a little bit more, but you can set them up virtually anywhere. If you have a small or unusual space, raised beds are going to be the way to go. Also, you can control the soil consistency as well as the nutritional density of that soil. So it's going to drain very well in a raised bed. So if you're growing something that might have a tendency to get root rot, raised beds might be the way to go. It's also going to help if your natural soil is more of a clay-like soil. We have that here in zone 7.
Yeah.
Or a sandy soil as well that's low in nutrition. This might be the way to go. But next, we're going to go over to our in-ground corn maze or corn field to talk to you a little bit about why you might want to start growing in-ground.
Now here we are at the in-ground cornfield, which is a 30-foot by 10-foot cornfield in the backyard, and it has been doing so well lately. Here's exactly how we set it up. We first started by pulling all the big weeds and anything that would get in the way of this 30 by 10-foot area. And then we went through with electric tillers, tilled it all up. You want to break up that soil. Like Colin said earlier, we have a very clay-heavy soil here. So it really needs to get broken up good for water to be able to drain. After tilling the area, we put in a 10-10-10 fertilizer. It's a little sprinkle, kind of like salt almost, that you just put over the soil. We watered that in for about a week. Just let it get all the way through, let it drain off a little bit, not be too intense. And then we planted our 150 corn seeds. And that's pretty much it. We set up a sprinkler to go, when things get dry. And that's really been it. It's just been so successful ever since.
So, because we do both, let's talk a little bit about why in-ground gardening might be the way that you'd want to go. So, first, we have a 35 by 10 foot bed here. We couldn't do that with a raised bed. This is nice and large, and it was very low cost. So, if you want to start big and low cost in your first year gardening, in-ground might be the way to go. We've made a nice convenient chart for you guys to look at and reference to decide which way is best for you. So let's go over the chart. First, we're going to talk about cost. The raised beds are going to cost a little bit more, but you're going to get some advantages here in the second category, soil control. You get to build the soil, so you get to decide how nutritionally dense it is, how well draining it is, and you can really make it perfect for the plants you'd like to grow. The setup time is going to be a little bit longer on the raised bed, and it's going to be moderately easy to expand that. Now we're looking at in-ground. The cost is going to be lower, but you're also going to have harder time controlling your soil at first. Give it 2 or 3 years, and you'll be able to amend an in-ground bed to be just as nutritionally dense and well draining, all those advantages, as a raised bed. Then the setup time, it's going to be faster, probably if things are the same size, but if you want to go in-ground, you're probably going to want to go a little bit larger, so the setup time might be equal in something like that. Expansion for an in-ground bed, of course, is going to be easier than your raised beds because all you have to do is mark out where you want to expand, till that up, and you can get planting pretty much right away. So now that you've decided raised bed or in-ground, it's time to teach you how to get that soil nice and rich so that your plants can grow their best.
Now here we are in the main garden where we've had so much success with these raised beds. And I would say the secret to the success of these raised beds specifically this year is what we have put in them. We were able to find a compost manure mix by the bulk for pretty cheap this year. And the plants have just been getting so much nutrition. By putting in that fresh compost, they've just been loving it.
So let's get into the nitty-gritty of exactly how we fill these beds before we top them off with that great compost and manure. First, we're going to do sticks and branches at the bottom. Make sure that they're nice and, dead, starting to decay. That's the perfect type of base for a raised bed like this. It'll give a home to the kind of microbes, the little bugs that you need to continually improve your soil. In the middle, we're going to look for compostables. Grass clippings are great. Leaves are great. Even things like straw will help a lot to continue to feed that top layer of soil as they break down. On the top, then, we're going to go with something like Mitchell said, that compost manure blend mixed with, ideally, a little bit of your native soil to help with the water holding potential of a raised bed like this. So, if you're doing the in-ground beds, this also works for you. Keep in mind that top layer, and that's what you're going to want to mix in to continually amend your soil season after season. So the 3 things that you're going to keep in mind when filling a raised bed like this is the bottom is going to be sticks and branches, the middle is going to be those compostables, and the top, you're going to mix your soil with something nice and nutritious like that compost manure blend. So now that we know how to choose the garden location, how to build the garden, and what to put in it, let's talk about what exactly we should plant in that garden and what time of year works best for you. So now that you've got your bed set up, what are you going to grow? Well, here's the mindset that you need to have going into your first season. First, what do you eat? Do you eat a lot of salads? Grow some lettuce, grow some radishes, maybe some cucumbers, things to make a beautiful salad for yourself. Or maybe you're a big pasta fan. You want to make your own sauce? You know what you're going to need to grow? Some beautiful large tomatoes, maybe some basil and oregano to flavor that sauce. Make sure that you're growing things that you eat. That's number 1. And 2, focus on just a few things each season as you're getting started and don't overdo it. Oftentimes, beginner gardeners want to grow all sorts of different things, which is super fun. But you'll be more successful if you get these kind of foolhardy proof plants and focus on growing just a few of them very well. Speaking about growing plants well, we're here in one of our favorite parts of the garden this year, our giant pumpkin patch. Mitchell's going to tell you exactly how we decided to grow this guy right here.
So this area, it wasn't really being used for much, and it had a lot of good nutrients because I've been dumping chicken manure over here from the coop right into this little raised bed just made up with some logs, nothing complicated. So since we had this area, these vines are able to trellis out and get so much sun throughout the day. It gets that nice morning sun, it's not too hot. And this kind of plant, you don't want it to get too hot because it needs so much water. You don't want it to dry out. And we have a crazy watering system set up here with some rainwater, a motor, but we're going to get more into it. Watering is so important for your garden. Once you have everything set up, you got to get that water just right, and that's when you will see everything thrive. So let's get a little more into it.
Now let's talk about watering. This is an area that we have really made nice and simple and hard to mess up. But a lot of beginner gardeners will forget to water or aren't in a good routine of watering every day. And so just 1 or 2 days of forgetting to water can really decimate a crop that you'd really like to eat. So let's talk about the system that we use to make sure that we never mess up our watering. We have the spigot attached to the wall, of course. Attached to the spigot then, we have a nice timer, which run hoses out to the area. And in this case, we have a sprinkler that directly waters this circular bed behind us.
This bed right here has been so successful this year, and part of that is because of how good the watering has been. In this area, since it's a circle, you want to choose a sprinkler that's going to water it evenly without wasting too much water because who wants to be spending all that money? So this area, it's a circular sprinkler that just spins in a circle, shooting water up and evenly waters all these plants. Haven't had a single issue with anything getting too dried out here. So just make sure, like if you have a rectangular plot, to get a rectangular, fan type of sprinkler. But for one like this, a little circular one is absolutely perfect.
Now you know everything that you need to make that sustainable garden an attainable garden. Gardening is really one of the most rewarding things that you can do. It can be calming, it can also be exciting, and it teaches you to care for those little things, those little details that you see in your garden. So, you're gonna make mistakes, but hopefully with this video, you'll make less than we did and you can become a successful gardener even sooner, learning something every season and becoming a better gardener each and every year.
And if you're starting your first garden this year, let us know in the comments below. We would love to keep in touch with you. And to see more updates about this garden and for more tips, just like in this video, subscribe for more, and happy cultivating.